speculation.
I think there's a quiet coup taking place in Dallas. Because in Dallas, Jason Kidd has done a hell of a job. After a rocky start, it was filled with doubt at first and some side eyes and some skeptics. But he methodically righted the ship. He brought stability to a franchise that had been swinging wildly between being mediocre and having mass potential. He developed a defensive philosophy that both Luka and Kyrie can get on the same page, and it brought them legitimacy. The Mavs started to feel like a real team, purposeful, connected, dangerous. But beneath that exterior, something quietly began happening. There was a fracture, and maybe it was a planting for seeds of ultimate betrayal. Because it all began when Cuban sold the majority stake of the team to Mariam Adelson. Okay, he's still going to be involved, but let's not play dumb. Power had changed hands. The moment Mark Cuban stepped out of the owner's driver's seat, the gravitational pull for the franchise started to shift. Cuban can be chaotic, but he's a loyal guy. And when the critics came for Jason Kidd's job, he stepped in. But now that man is fading to the background, and Kidd feels the safety net disappearing beneath his feet. That's when things really start to unravel though. Because a bombshell came. On what seemed like a standard offseason press conference, Nico Harris took the mic and made a franchise-altering announcement. Luka Doncic, the generational talent, the prodigy, the face of the franchise, had been traded. There was no build-up, there were no whispers, there were no leaks, just surgical shock. And that camera panned to Jason Kidd's face in real time. And the look said it all. There was confusion and betrayal. That wasn't the look of a man who had been in the loop. And I remember that. It was the look of a man calculating, analyzing who made this decision, who was in the room when it happened, and why wasn't I in the room when it happened? Because if Nico Harrison could pull the trigger on Luka, a once-in-a-lifetime cornerstone, then what exactly is off the table? Kidd is a future Hall of Famer, a championship-winning player and coach. Had to be asking himself, if this is how they treat a 25-year-old superstar, what do they have planned for a 51-year-old head coach when it's that time to make a move? And that's when loyalty fractures. Because that was the moment the seed was planted. I don't care what Harrison is saying right now. Because right now, things appear calm in Dallas. The smiles seem a little too plastic though. The interviews a little too scripted though. The peace, it feels manufactured. Like a family smiling through clenched teeth at a reunion dinner. Jason Kidd has become quieter. He's more reserved. He's no longer selling long-term vision. Instead, he talks in short timelines. He avoids future speculation, and he gives off the vibe of a man that's playing the long game. Enter the New York Knicks. Tom Thibodeau was recently fired in June after we got eliminated by the losers in 6 games. The Knicks want a proven name. A former player, a tactician, someone who can relate to stars and develop the youth. Kidd checks every box. And don't be fooled by the silence. Knicks president Leon Rose and J. Kidd go way back to their agency days. The lines of communication don't have to be public to be active. This wouldn't be Kidd's first surprise move either. Y'all remember that he engineered a power play to leave the Brooklyn Nets for Milwaukee, blindsiding the Nets front office with a midnight switcheroo? That wasn't a job change. That was a heist. Kidd plays chess, and Nico Harrison, he might be a few moves behind. So while all seems tranquil in Texas, don't be surprised if Jason Kidd pulls off the coaching coup of the century heading to the New York Knicks. flipping the narrative, leaving Nico to wonder how the man he blindsided with that Luka trade just made his own cold, calculated escape. Because in the end, you just don't do J-Kid like that, man. That man is a Hall of Famer. You don't do that and expect him not to return the favor. For the Hall of Fame player who's a leader in dishing the basketball, maybe he has one last dish inside of him. Revenge. And that dish is a dish best served cold. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. There's no struggle, there's no progress. But also remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Daily, everybody eats.
Everybody eats.